start it off this week the same way we started off every Thursday, and that is with the Chewbacca Chainsaw of the Week Award. And he's still choreographing everything, still choreographing. But so this week's award goes to a fine lady, and her name is Becky Hammon. And she doesn't only get this award because she's played 16 stellar seasons in the WNBA. She was named one of the 15 greatest players the WNBA has ever had. Not only is she fourth in career assists, but it is because Miss Becky Hammon has become the first full-time female coach in the NBA.
And you say full-time coach, so what level of coach is she?
She's actually an assistant coach. She'll probably break it down and work on like defensive drills or offensive drills. I'm not exactly sure what her forte is. I would imagine offensive drills. But she will be on the bench during games. She is getting paid for this, so that's a first. They've had other female coaches come through, not really get paid, just kind of like interns, see how things are happening. But it's pretty cool, and now she is being welcomed in by the San Antonio Spurs franchise because she did play with their crosstown counterpart.
That's not a bad team. That's not a bad team at all.
No, and I mean, if you look at this organization, any organization like San Antonio, and people might say this will be a little bit of a controversy. I don't see it at all. I don't see why it would matter, a woman coaching or anything like that. Because when you boil it down, yeah, the style of play is a little different between the WNBA and the NBA, but the basic X's and O's are there. So this is a San Antonio team that doesn't kill anybody. They're not like the Clippers. They're not like, hey, let's just dunk it 50 times every night. You know, they're more of a finesse. They're more of a set offense, set defense. So I think she's going to fit in really good there. Just a little bit of a...
Anyway, right now. She's not the head coach. She has time to learn how things are going to go and take... You know, she has someone over her to instruct on whatever the differences are going to be for style. So
yeah, and I don't even expect her to become a head coach in the NBA, but I mean, because Greg Popovich is there. Well, yeah, that's true. No, most people didn't expect a female assistant coach full time, so that's.
I'm saying most people don't. Most assistant coaches don't become head coaches. That's kind of a difficult job to get.
Yeah, but she kind of had a few quotes I was reading from her press conference that kind of were interesting to me. When she was asked about, the difference in style of play between men and women, she said, the physicality is definitely different. Athleticism is different, a lot of different, but here the actual quote. When it comes to things of the mind, things like coaching, game planning, coming up with offensive and defensive schemes, there's no reason why a woman couldn't and shouldn't be in the mix. So I totally agree with her. I think she's got a good head on her shoulders. And she actually, people don't know that she kind of got integrated into the San Antonio Spurs team last year. She was actually rehabbing from an ACL injury. So she was around that same sports complex. I believe the same owner owns both teams. And she actually got to sit in a few film sessions and a few practices with them. And Popovich kind of just said, you know what, come on, if you're interested, I'll teach you some of the ropes. And she seems to be an apt pupil. I mean, Popovich describes her as having a very impressive basketball IQ. So, I mean, again, where else would you want to rather go than the San Antonio Spurs with one of the most solid coaching systems / team / general manager? Just top to bottom, that's a great organization to work for. It's like working for Google. I mean, just one of those teams that everybody wants to get in there on because Google. Come on, I want to work for Google. Google, if you want to hire me, I'll come work for you. Anytime. Don't worry, I will drop everything I have here in D.C., fly out to, where are they at, San Francisco?
They're actually all over the place.
Fly out to wherever you want me to.
They have a main headquarters, I don't know, I think in Washington somewhere, but they're all over the place. They have offices.
Wherever you want
I think
me,
they have an office not too far from here.
Google, I don't mind if you want to send me to Antarctica. Let me know because I know you're a great place to work for.
And Brian will be your official sportscaster.
I will. / entertainment guru. So, I can wear 2 hats. Huh? All right, that's where you want me, so I stop. There we go. Because we know that if you don't want me, I just keep going and going and going. That is how I roll. No, I didn't want you. That was an unnecessary womp. That was one too many womps. Now I can't even do the show anymore. I'm so distraught. I'm out of here. And the womps just keep coming for him. So, But yeah, so Becky Hammon, I salute you, and you do get our Chewbacca Chainsaw of the Week award. So that was actually a main topic, even though usually the Chewbacca Chainsaw Award isn't usually a main topic. But let's take that, roll that into other basketball talk, and that is Kevin Durant has withdrawn from the FIBA World Cup basketball team, and now I know, and I don't like to see this. I like to see Kevin Durant, representing our country because he is like the best from our country. You wouldn't want the best from your country representing you? No, you would. You would. That's just kind of how you like it to go. Kevin Durant, you're the man. All right, this isn't a Durant, right?
MVP, no. Two-time Chewbacca Chainsaw Award winner.
He's won more than that. He's won like 15 of those.
Probably. And
he wins one every week, whether you realize it or not.
So why isn't he? Why is he dropping out? What's going on?
Well, he says it's due to mental and physical fatigue. Now, granted, if you look at his season, he played the 82 games from the regular season. He played another 20 or so odd games for the playoffs, and so this is really a lot. I mean,
yeah, but aren't there other players on the team that have the same situation?
Yeah, there are some, but I
mean, come on, Kevin Durant. I'm sorry. Come on. Well, you're supposed to be the top.
No. I think he's allowed to take this time off. Number one, after the injury to Paul George, nobody really wants to be on that court. Number two is a lot of these players are a little bit younger than Durant. Now, I'm not saying Durant is over the hill by any meaning, but he does have a couple more years on his legs than a couple of these other players like the Steph Currys, the Kyrie Irvings, and players like that. Like Derrick Rose is playing. He hasn't played in a whole year, so he has no wear and tear on his legs right now, except for all of the ACL injuries.
All of them.
He does a lot of them. So, not so like 152. It's been brutal. How you have 152 and still walk? I don't know. But that's to you, Derrick Rose. My compliments. But yeah. But really, if you look at it, and this is like the serious underlining of what's going on with Kevin Durant, the reason he's not playing is because they cut his boys John Wall and Bradley Beal off the team. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. He was so bitter about that. He made up the excuse about being tired, even though it wouldn't be an excuse if he really wants it to be the excuse, because he's Kevin Durant and he can really say anything he wants and never be wrong. But it's because his boys, we talked about it last week, he's boys with those guys. He wanted to play with them. He wants to play with them.
Why did they get cut?
They got cut just because there's too much bias on the national team, and Coach Krzyzewski wants to take all of his Duke players and put them on the national basketball team.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, no, not really. I don't know. They're younger players. I think Bradley Beal would have been great on this squad because when you get into international basketball, it's more about shooting, and Bradley Beal is one of the better shooters. Also, I think John Wall would have fit perfectly because he's the best defender out of all the guards there. So to have a little bit of a change of pace, I think Krzyzewski is really missing the boat on that. But he is just one of the most legendary basketball coaches of all time, so I won't question him too much more than that. But okay, let's question him. I'm questioning you now. Shake the camera question. That's what I'm gonna call that one. Shake the camera question.
That's how serious it is.
That is how serious it is. But yeah, so it's sad to see because we've had Paul George go down, of course, with that horrible catastrophic injury. I can't even say catastrophic. It was so catastrophic to me and traumatizing because if you saw that replay, ouch. All I gotta say is, I'm sorry, man. That sucks. You were a good player. You weren't on my team. I didn't really like you that much because you beat my team, but you were a good player, and I like to see the best play. So, Paul George, here's to a speedy recovery. Yeah, because that's pretty bad. But one thing about Paul George's injury that does kind of spicing up, is spicing up a word?
No, it is not.
It is now. Spicing up. Yeah. What are you doing? I'm spicing up the joint. Yeah. Yeah, I like this chicken, but it could use some spicing up. Okay, just womp me.
Oh.
You're slow on the womp trigger. You need to go faster on this womp trigger.
I was trying to get you the boo, but...
Well, I'm glad you couldn't find the boo. The boo's just... but yeah, so... But what I was saying about Paul George is it really makes the Eastern Conference extremely interesting this year, and that's because he was on top of the team that was supposed to be on top of the East, and now without him, without Lance Stevenson, they really don't have much of a direction. These guys are going to be hurting, and that was for lack of a better term. I did not mean that as a pun because of his injury. And by the way, I mean, if you saw that, like, we only need one replay, ESPN. Honestly, just one. You don't ever need to show it more than once, like, a day. That thing was horrible. I mean, do you know what I'm talking about? Did you see the?
No, I didn't see it. What are you talking about?
So it was a scrimmage game last Friday. He goes up for to block a layup. His foot kind of hits where the basketball hoop goes up, and literally his leg goes from like this, like straight up like it's supposed to be, to like that. And yeah, so he'll never be the same. But the East should be interesting. That is, unless Cleveland gets Kevin Love, which it looks like it's going to happen. They are going to put that trade through for Andrew Wiggins. I wish they wouldn't, because we're looking at an East that the Wizards could win. Because I am a homer.
We'll see.
Yes,
Maybe.
They could win. Just agree. And then if we
get Kevin Durant, maybe when Kevin Durant decides to come play with us, then we're going to win.
If the Wizards win the East, like, it's a lock that Kevin Durant will come play with us. So, come on, Wizards, let's win the East. But yeah, so that's kind of our basketball roundup. And you'll notice tonight we're just going to start quick firing topics. It's not going to be one solid reel like we normally do, 3 segments. We're just going to have fun with
quick firing if you weren't talking about it so much.
Oh, you're right. But let us know what you think about any of the basketball stories. What do you think about Becky Hammon, Hammon, being the first female full-time assistant coach in the NBA? And what do you think about Kevin Durant stepping down from the team, saying he's too tired? Is that the real truth, or is he just pissed that Wall and Beal got cut? My vote is on the latter, but hey, let us know at where'smyface on Twitter.com. Do I have to say .com on Twitter?
No. In fact, if you do go to @where'smyface.com, you probably won't get anything. That's not us.
Yeah, so @where'smyface on Twitter, where'smyface@gmail.com. Of course, Google+, Facebook, comments down below, always a great way to get a hold of us. So let us know what you think about some of those NBA stories.